we could be so happy all alone. There'd be nobody near us to see us or hear.
Welcome, everybody, to the April 26, 2022 meeting of the Carpenter Unified School District. We'll start with our item B1. During closed session this evening, information was discussed, but no actions were taken at this time. For both by item B2 and B3. We'll now start with our flag salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As usual, I skipped ahead. My apologies. We'll move on to item C3, is the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of April 12th, 2022. May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
We do have public comments for that.
In the minutes?
On the closed session?
Oh, never mind. I thought you were going on C3A.
C3A, yes. You got public comments on that one? Okay, thank you. And who do we have?
Employee Union President Jay Hotchner.
Okay.
I believe so, yes.
You can start.
Thank you. As the school board considers whether it will approve the minutes of the April 12th, 2022 school board meeting, union leadership asks that the school board correct the record contained in the minutes of that meeting. If the board does not act to correct the grossly inaccurate statements made by board member Schaefer, those statements will serve to further mislead the community on two very important topics to the operations and financing of the CUSD. The first being Mr. Schaefer's statements misled the community about what the expenditure of that over $1 million in legal fees was intended to accomplish. Superintendent Rigby's and the school board's effort to launch attacks against union leadership and employees who support and participate with the union. The second important topic related to Mr. Schaefer's comments were the Mr. Schaefer's misrepresentation, which fundamentally mischaracterizes the outcome of the district's over $1 million legal fee expenditure, which did not secure a single victory for the district after spending all that money, as well as the accompanying resources, time, and energy. Look, the union leadership understands that after being presented with understandably embarrassing legal costs at the last board meeting, Mr. Schaefer and his colleagues would prefer to distract the community from the accountability that should be demanded. But we did not expect Mr. Schaefer to tell what, regretfully, can only be described as a bold-faced lie. A short but tall tale of epic proportions, told to the hears and rah-rahs of Ms. Green and other board members. At the April 12th board meeting, found in minute 134:47 of the board video, when presented with the fact that the district spent well over $1 million attacking the union and district union members, Mr. Schaefer stated, quote, "In every single case, other than the PERB filing, the district has prevailed on every one of those grievances. And I know that certain people want to deceive themselves, but that is the truth." Well, Mr. Schaefer's statement couldn't be further from the truth. In each and every major legal action pursued by the union, the district was found guilty of violating the contractual rights of district employees and or retaliating against district employees and union leaders. These are the decisions, or there are the decisions provided, or these decisions have been provided by several different and neutral California state judges and arbitrators. However you read them, the decisions are clear,
Thank you for your comments.
and we'd be happy to provide them if you're looking for
All
them.
right, thank you. Items C through C3A, can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Is there any questions or comments on that item? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item C4 is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda for this evening's meeting. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, this is a roll call.
Aaron.
Aye.
Jamie.
Aye.
Sally.
Aye.
Jamie.
Am I?
And I'm aye.
All right, we'll move right along to item E1. It's our student representative report.
Hi. Okay. So lots of thanks and congratulations to give out. Carpenter High School had a very successful Russell Cup. Over 800 student athletes participated in the 102nd Russell Cup. Big thanks to all volunteers who made it happen and to Mr. Latham for organizing the meet. Last week, ASB held the second blood drive of the year, and over 40 students and staff members donated the gift of life. A big thank you to them as well. Today, Carpenter High School was named by U.S. News and World Report as one of the top schools in the United States. Carpenter High School is ranked 2,688th in the nation, 394th in California, and 2nd in Santa Barbara County. Congratulations, students, teachers, staff, parents, and community for making CHS a top school. May is a busy month for students at CHS. Advanced placement testing will take place May 2nd to May 12th. Also, state testing will take place for all 11th graders once AP testing is completed. Parents and students are invited to our in-person open house on Monday, May 16th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Please stop by to visit classrooms and meet our teachers and get to know the campus. Finally, on Monday, May 16th at 7 p.m., we will be hosting our academic award ceremony. Students receiving an award have been invited to the ceremony and are encouraged to check their mailbox for an invitation.
Great, thank you for your excellent report.
Thanks, Natalia.
Yes, thank you for all the good news.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Definitely.
I just have to say that I had the privilege of interviewing our representative for Carpentry Education Foundation Scholarship. This is a wonderful representative of the high school and what we're producing in this community. And it was a pleasure interviewing you. And we wish you all the luck out there.
Thank you.
too. All right, item E2 is our superintendent's report. I believe we have public comment on this item.
Yes, we do. Employee Union President Jay Hochner.
Thank you.
When you're ready, Ms. Thomas. Thank you. So the first topic contained in the superintendent's report is received with some irony by district employees. If district employees believe that superintendent actually believed what she shares, we would applaud that sentiment and thank her with and at every opportunity. But in candor, Ms. Rigby's words appear to be just that, just words. Words that ring quite hollow and empty in the ears of the majority of district staff who know the superintendent to utter them easily, but stand by them rarely. Fortunately, teachers and support staff do not provide the high-quality service and dedication to the students for either insincere applause or accolades. They do so because they believe in service to the community, to our future, and to our children, and to all that we could be. Where were we to work together towards our shared interest and values? May 1st through 7th, 2022 is Teacher Appreciation Week. Please know that whether or not CUSD faculty receive the heartfelt gratitude they deserve, they'll still show up. They'll still put in the hours, they'll still take the risks, and they'll still act in the best interest of students and families that they serve. Union leadership recognizes their extraordinary effort, made more dynamic and exceptional when considering it in the light of the challenges and risks brought by the COVID pandemic that is easing but not over. We know them to be professionals, and we know them to be the backbone of all that happens across the district, whether or not district leadership supports or undermines that effort. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, Diana.
Thank you. So I'll begin with appreciation. And Teacher Appreciation Week, or National Teacher Appreciation Week, is May 1st through the 7th. It's a week-long celebration in recognition of teachers and the contributions that they make to both education and society. It is held in the first full week of May of every year, and it provides an opportunity for the school community to show their appreciation for all the hard work done by teachers. Tuesday is Teacher Appreciation Day is designated, the Tuesday in Teacher Appreciation Week is designated as Teacher Appreciation Day. Our teachers deserve heartfelt gratitude for their continuous adaptation, creativity, and flexibility to ensure that all of our students are successfully learning during this post-pandemic year. So we thank the CUSD teachers and we appreciate them. Thank you. In addition, School Lunch Hero Day is also held annually on the first Friday in May in honor of each person responsible for providing breakfast and lunches to millions of children across America. Each staff member responsible for making sure nutritious food is offered to students is a hero. And this day was specially designed to show appreciation for their valuable and important contributions to students' well-being. We appreciate Chef Michelle Hernandez and her food services team. The next item is related to the recent update on COVID-19 vaccine implementation timeline by CDPH. On April 14th, the California Department of Public Health issued a statement regarding the state's implementation timeline for adding the COVID-19 vaccine to the list of required vaccinations to attend school until the 2023-24 school year. Since the Federal Food and Drug Administration has not yet approved COVID-19 vaccines for children in grades 7 through 12, the state will not initiate the regulatory process for a COVID-19 vaccine requirement for the 22-23 school year. The state will delay the implementation of a COVID-19 vaccine requirement for school attendance until after full FDA approval and after consideration of the recommendations of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices of the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American Academy of Family Physicians. State action is now expected to take place no sooner than July 1st, 2023. The next item is related to our Earth Day lessons. Elementary students are celebrating and honoring Earth Day during the month of April. All District 3rd graders attended Katie Roberts Bluffs Day on March 29th. The Citizens for the Bluffs volunteers facilitate an annual event that includes rotating small group activities at our beautiful bluffs, including the Eyes in the Sky, which is a rescue organization for red-tailed hawks and owls. The students are led to create their own clamshell rattle, which is a Chumash tradition, watercoloring of the bluffs landscape, and how the Chumash utilize native plants for resources. The Bluffs Day is an appreciation and advocacy for preservation of our natural lands. 3rd graders also do walking field trips to Tomo Park, a Rotary Club investment in Carpinteria, to learn more about the Chumash land and traditions, and the respect and reverence for our national resources here in Carpinteria. 1st and 2nd grade students at the Catalino Carpinteria Family School are also doing walking field trips to the state beach during low tide to study the living creatures in the tide pools, as well as shorebirds and the human impact on the delicate ecosystem. Students are also doing walking field trips to Carpinteria Salt Marsh to learn about the crucial importance of our salt marsh as a nursery for marine life, as well as plant life that is part of the food chain and habitat. 4th grade students will be taking a boat trip in celebration of Earth Day during April to Santa Cruz Island, where the focus is on human impact on the island ecosystem as well as the ocean. The students learn about flora and fauna on the island and sometimes see dolphin and whales when crossing the channel. 5th grade students enjoy a 3-day, 2-night trip to Catalina Island Marine Institute, and they learn a lot about delicate ecosystems, how to minimize human impact on those systems, and an appreciation for the natural environment. And finally, at our sites, we are working hard to teach students to separate their waste into trash, recycle, and compost during breakfast and lunch, and to utilize reusable containers and their own water bottles. And then the next item we already discussed was the 102nd Russell Cup. So last Saturday, the 102nd Russell Cup track and field meet was held with 43 small schools participating, and as Natalie said, more than 800 student athletes. Congratulations to Coach Latham who are our athletic director, Cooney, student athletes, and all the volunteers for a highly successful and enjoyable event. The next item is our planning for extended learning in summer 2022. Elementary students will have the opportunity to attend Fun in the Sun, an academic and enrichment summer program offered by United Way, and that will be at Aliso School, June 20th to July 29th, 8:30 to 4:30. CMS and CHS students who are failing math or English, as well as our ELL students, will also attend 80 hours of summer school, June 13th to July 8th, 8 to 12 daily, and that will be at CHS. We will also be offering robotic classes at CHS during those same weeks. And then special ed students will participate in extended year classes both at Aliso and the high school, June 13th to July 8th. I also wanted to share tonight some information from the CDE website. CDE today released K-12 public school enrollment data for the 21-22 academic year. The annual snapshot of fall enrollment shows a fifth year of decline as the state emerges from 2 challenging years of the COVID-19 pandemic. This release provides yet another data point in the continuing analysis of California's overall demographic shifts and related pandemic impacts. The information is crucial to understanding how best to plan for a robust recovery in years ahead. California enrollment declines are consistent with the national data trends that show enrollment is dropping across the country. These declines began prior to the pandemic and are projected to continue into the future in California. Large urban districts in California account for close to a third of the drop in the current year. Reports published suggest that both Chicago and New York also saw significant declines for the second year of the pandemic. With this data release, we see that COVID-19 disruptions are playing a large part in negating the steady enrollment gains that we previously enjoyed over the last decade. And then, of course, our last information item is our update on Measure U. Summerlin School is rapidly taking shape with the foundation for the upper classroom building complete. Wall framing for the upper classroom building has begun on the tennis courts, and soon the upper building will be framed in. Mechanical trades have been completing the interior of the lower classrooms. The construction team also met on site to review a mock exterior siding demonstration to prepare for inspection and approvals. Planning continues for the tennis court renovation. The CHS administration building continues interior mechanical and drywall work. Concrete has been poured for walkways, retaining walls, and planters. The construction team is now discussing power connectivity and requirements to be able to power up the new building. Preparation for summer work at Catalina and Main schools are also underway, with multiple site walks with various trades to finalize the scope and the sequence. Catalina will have a very aggressive timeline with 2 full construction crews on site to be prepared for the opening of school in August. Packing has begun at Catalina with 2 large storage containers delivered in the Linden and El Caro parking lots, and Main School Carpentry Children's Project will be moved to Aliso for the summer while the school is painted. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have one quick question. With the finishing up of Summerlin School, can we get an update on where we stand with the tennis courts that we got the donation for? Have we, maybe next agenda meeting or something, that we get a presentation as where we stand on permitting for that?
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. All right. Item F1 is a resolution for Teacher Appreciation Week. Before I read the resolution, I believe we have a public comment. E3, sorry. Public comment?
Yes, we are going to start with some comments sent via email, and the superintendent will read them.
Yes. I am reading 4 public comments that were sent related to the appeal for the cannabis nursery at 4532 Foothill Road. And then I also received 4 additional comments related to the same topic. But there are 4 asked that I read them at the meeting tonight.
Okay.
Okay. So the first email is from Robert Lesser. Dear CUSD and Planning Commission members, Please read this letter during public comment period in support of the appeal of the cannabis site at 4532 Foothill Road. We also ask that the board send a letter to the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission to uphold this appeal. This cannabis operation is particularly deleterious to student and faculty health as it is directly west of Carpinteria High School. Number one, we are particularly troubled by the use of Ecozorb, the ingredient in the Bayer's vapor phase system that is emitted 24/7 to attempt to neutralize the odors of cannabis. Many people, including staff and students, are suffering health impacts from both the stench of cannabis and the Ecozorb. Neither the staff nor the students want to breathe chemicals with no known long-term effects of inhaling sprayed chemicals near the school. Number two, this operation will be using a previously unused greenhouse of 80,007 square feet. At its closest point to the property line of the high school campus, we'll be planting both nursery plants, they are claiming these supposedly don't smell, in the same building greenhouse as the mature plants. The definition of premise is ambiguous at best, deceitful at worst. When the county wrote the cannabis ordinance, instead of implementing the federal mandated law of 1,000 feet from property line to property line, the Board of Supervisors came up with a gimmicky measurement of 600 feet for the nursery plants and 750 for mature plants from actual premises, which the cannabis industry insistently lobbied for. This item was also highlighted in the grand jury's scathing report on the county's cannabis ordinance, June 2020, ignoring Planning Commission and staff recommendations. 3, please support the demand that the 5 growers encircling the high school, 4505 Foothill Road, 4555 Foothill Road, 4701 Foothill Road, 4994 Foothill Road, and 4532 Foothill Road hire an odor specialist monitor to monitor the high school grounds daily, since school faculty feels they are unable to make complaints to the county planning and development website without potential retaliation. Yeah, the county is still unable to identify the source of the odor, and this is especially true at high school because of the number of grows polluting the air. 4, at the last 2 Santa Barbara Planning Commission meetings, members of the Planning Commission spoke about the continuing odors at the high school and the jaw-dropping CC fact that no one from the school district has said a word. Note that many of the parents of the high school students work for those growers, and there's a reluctance of school employees to make complaints citing fear of retaliation. Also, those members of the school board with family or relatives who work in the cannabis industry need to recuse themselves from this vote. It is a conflict of interest. The second email is from Marilee Peebles. Dear Superintendent and School Board, I support the appeal of the cannabis site at 4532 Foothill Road because the students and faculty have been subjected to cannabis and Bayer or other vapors for long enough. Students have the right to be educated in a clean environment. I know students that have suffered headaches and other difficulties. Growers need to be committed to using carbon scrubbers to clean the air, not a chemical masking system that adds more smells and questionable ingredients to the environment. 5.5 acres next to the school is a very large grow and should be taken seriously. In addition, the newly proposed use of greenhouse of 80,000 square feet, just 600 feet from the school perimeter, is too near the school and will add more cannabis smell and vapor smell not previously in this area. I hiked the Franklin Trail behind the school and clearly smell the cannabis. Also of concern is the need of an odor specialist to pinpoint the problems from other greenhouses. Please support clean air using carbon scrubbers, the best available solution to this long ongoing problem. Why would you not? The health of the students is in the hands of the school board at this point. I hope you'll take your responsibility seriously. By adding carbon scrubbers, the workers in these greenhouses will benefit as well. There is no downside to requiring scrubbers. Thank you. And the third email is from Gail Herson. Dear Carpinteria Unified School District Superintendent and School Board members, please support the appeal of the cannabis site of 4532 Foothill Road, and please send a timely letter to the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission to uphold this appeal. Many people suffer health effects from breathing cannabis odors, as well as the vapor phase system emission spray that will be used to try to neutralize the noxious cannabis odors. There has been no long-term testing in the cumulative effects of breathing 24/7 the vapor phase mist, which is used on cannabis daily and released into our Carpinteria air. Likewise, there has been no research on the effects of long-term daily inhalation of cannabis odor emissions. As you know, children's brains and nervous system are rapidly developing, and therefore utmost care must be taken to protect their healthy development. The growers are not protecting our children. The county is not protecting our children. Our vulnerable children are unconsenting guinea pigs in this risky experiment. It is vital that the concentration of cannabis growers surrounding the schools, 4505 Foothill Road, 4555 Foothill Road, 4701 Foothill Road, 4994 4994 Foothill Road and 4532 Foothill Road. At the very least, hire an odor specialist monitor outfitted with effective odor sensing technology to monitor the odor each day and report findings to the county, the schools, and the local community. As a local citizen, I frequently hear that students and teachers are having headaches and nausea and difficult focusing on learning from inhaling the cannabis odor and vapor phase emissions. Sadly, I've also heard that staff and students, many of the students have parents working in the cannabis sites, are afraid to complain. Others have moved away from Carpinteria due to these negative effects and lack of research on these effects. What has happened to the concept of do no harm, of safety first? I'm also alarmed that this operation is planning to use a previously unused greenhouse, 8,007 square feet, 80,007 square feet, closest to the property line of the high school campus, and will be planting both nursery plants, which supposedly don't smell, in the same building greenhouse as the mature plants. When the county wrote the cannabis ordinance, instead of proposing 1,000 feet measured from property line to property line, the Board of Supervisors for Santa Barbara County came up with a new solution of measuring the high school's property line to the premise where the cannabis is being grown. This is only a solution if you are a grower, not a student. 600 feet for the nursery plants and 700 feet for the mature plants is much too close to the school and puts out our students at risk. This item was also highlighted. It is shameful that highlighted in the grand jury report of June 2020 concerning Planning Commission and staff recommendations. It is shameful that the county supervisors and Planning Commission have recklessly allowed such a deep concentration of growers too near to our schools. It's shameful that the growers subject our children to these odors and sprayed chemicals without research on the long-term effects, and the county allows this to take place. Please don't be complicit. Please stand up for our children by supporting this appeal. And then the last email request for public comment at this time is from Anna Carrillo, and her email indicates that she urges the board to write a letter supporting the appeal of the coastal development permit that was issued to the cannabis operation of 4532 Foothill Road last November 2021. This operation is west of the high school on the same side of the street as the high school. This will be heard by the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission on May 4th, and correspondence needs to be received by noon on May 2nd. Concerned Carpinterians and Kate School appealed the granting of the coastal development permit for the following reasons. One, it's very upsetting to have cannabis odors at the high school. This affects the staff and students' health and the reputation of the school. At the January and February County Planning Commission meetings, they were held on 2 other cannabis projects close to the high school. One of the commissioners spoke about the odors at the high school and how this problem needs to be solved. The grand jury report published 2020 states the air quality at Carpinteria School is being compromised by strong cannabis odors at the point that by afternoon, the students and staff are reporting ill effects such as headaches from the nauseating odors. Number 2, the project is proposing to use EcoSorb for their odor abatement program. There has been no long-term testing out of the long-term cumulative effects of inhaling EcoSorb. This vapor phase system is pumped out 24/7 through the open vents. There are people who suffer health impacts from the cannabis and or the EcoSorb. This is not healthy for the staff or the students attending the high school. This is not good for anyone. Number 3, there are 5 cannabis sites near the high school. 2 of the latest to receive their coastal development permits, 4555 and 4701 Foothill Road, are committed to installing regenerative carbon scrubbers that would clean the air before the vents are open. This is what should be done at this operation also. The cannabis operation is too close to the high school's property line. When the cannabis ordinance was written, staff had recommended a 1,000-foot distance between property lines. It was changed to measuring 750 feet from the property line of the high school to where the cannabis is being cultivated. Currently, this operation is utilizing 3 greenhouses, but with the new permit this was issued, a new large 80,007 square foot greenhouse, Greenhouse B, will now be used with 16,413 square feet located in the 750-foot buffer zone. Also part of the greenhouse, 11,569 square feet is currently located within the 750-foot cultivation area buffer. There is nothing in the ordinance that allows a property to be just part of a building. The operator is proposing that nursery plants, which supposedly don't smell, will be grown in the buffer zone, but as one knows only too well, cannabis odor wafts all over the place, so having any part of a greenhouse in a buffer zone should not be permitted. Number 5, the county only responds to odors that have been reported. Since the cultivation sites are too close together, the county admits it's still unable to locate the source of the odor. It has been suggested that the 5 cultivation sites around the high school, 4994 Foothill Road, 4532 Foothill Road, Road, 4701 Foothill Road, 4555 Foothill Road, and 4505 Foothill Road. Hire an odor management specialist to track the odors at the high school daily. This expense will be incurred by the 5 growers, so they become responsible for filing the odor issues. 6, the odor abatement plan must prevent odors from being experienced within residential zones as determined by the director. Schools and other sensitive receptors need to be included in this requirement also. The buyer's vapor phase system is not effective in controlling the odors. Wind and weather don't always cooperate in meeting the smelly cannabis molecules. 7, please protect the staff and students attending Carpinteria High School from inhaling cannabis odors and the ingredients in the vapor phase system being currently used and proposed. And then the last 4 emails received that had the same information is George Zweldering, Ann Matson, Sharon Eskelson, and Carrie Miles.
All right, thank you for reading those. Do we have any other public speakers, Monica?
Yes, we do. We will start with Jill Stasinos.
Okay.
It's on. All right.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Okay, it's still on. Good evening, Superintendent Rigby and members of the Carpinteria School Board. My name is Jill Stasinos, and I've been a teacher for over 30 years. I'm speaking to you in support of the students, teachers, and staff of the Carpinteria School District who are negatively impacted by the skunk-like odors that emanate from the nearby cannabis grows. I too am negatively impacted by the stinky smells emanating from the cannabis grown at 4532 Foothill Road. Every time I drive by that location, I have to roll up my car's windows. As a member of the Carpinteria community, I'm learning more and more about the negative impacts, the health impacts, and the health effects of EcoSorb, which is often used to mask the skunk-like odors. As an educator, I know how important a good learning environment is for students and staff. It is easy to imagine how bad odors would distract and interfere with students' learning and teachers' ability to teach. I recall as a high school student sitting in a classroom trying to pay attention to a lesson during the repaving of a nearby parking lot. The windows were kept open due to the heat in the classroom, and the noise and bad odors the asphalt made it impossible for me to concentrate and learn. I'm here to request that the Carpinteria School Board pass a motion to write a letter to the Santa Barbara Planning Commission supporting the appeal to the growth and expansion of cannabis production at 4532 Foothill Road until the negative learning, working, health, and environmental impacts upon students and staff are alleviated. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Union President Jay Hochner.
Okay.
Pardon me? You can start. Thank you. So the union continues to examine district leadership's relationship with local cannabis producers. We remain concerned that a quid pro quo exists when the district continues to accept grant monies from local cannabis producers while looking the other way and not acting to enforce the established buffer zones designed to keep marijuana cultivation away from CUSD school sites, facilities, students, and employees. On Wednesday, May 4th, the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission will hear the appeal of Kate School and concerned Carpinterians about the cannabis operation at 4532 Foothill, adjacent Carpinteria High School. You'll note that CUSD is not involved in that appeal. This property is within 650 feet of the high school. The cannabis operation is only planning on using a cheaper and less effective mitigation system versus the carbon filter system designed to minimize odor more significantly as well as airborne hazards. To be clear, union leadership has not and is not currently taking a position on the value of cannabis cultivation in the community of Carpinteria. We believe that the volume and density of cannabis cultivation in Carpinteria is a decision for those who reside in the community we serve. We recognize that Carpinterians are entitled to determine the costs and value of future jobs and tax monies that marijuana production might bring the community. However, after several inquiries from colleagues, community members, and local organizations, students, parents, neighbors, union leadership acknowledged that a very different question demands our attention. The question being, is it appropriate for district leadership like yourselves to violate its own board policies, mislead the community, and accept grant monies from cannabis growers operating in conflict with legally established buffer zones for school districts and facilities? With this in mind, union leadership is currently surveying its members. We look forward to reporting the survey results as deemed appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, Monica? Great, thank you. We'll move on to item F1. This is resolution number 22-896 for Teacher Appreciation Week. Before I read the resolution, we do have a public speaker.
Yes, we do. Union President Jay Hochner.
Okay.
Ms. Thomas, when you're ready. Go. Thank you. So every year for the last several years, the school board has stood or grandstanded on this topic, expressing appreciation for the very teacher faculty members that you too often undermine by supporting the unprofessional attacks by Superintendent Rigby and select administrative team members. Union leadership would like to make a suggestion here. If you truly support CUSD teachers, perhaps it's time to consider the following. How about helping these teachers advance student success by increasing both program offerings for district students and resources for educators? How about lowering those excessive reserve balances to lower class sizes and help district faculty and support staff make the difference in the lives and experience of our students? How about lowering those excessive reserve balances to improve the safety conditions across the district? How about considering the message you send district employees when you provide district's upper management increased personnel support, increased resource support, and permanent salary increases while simultaneously failing to provide adequate resources in the teaching and learning environment and refusing to significantly enhance the permanent salaries of the district faculty and support staff that serve our students and families? How about including the voices of district personnel and employee leaders in a manner that better reflects their experience and insight versus supporting administration's attacks when they risk speaking up? How about holding the superintendent accountable for the over $1 million in legal fees and public monies she has squandered on her anti-union and anti-employee attacks with your support? How about acting immediately to prevent the next $1 million in legal fees and adversarial management practices, which the district has already committed to spending with its most recent round of attacks? How about digging a little deeper? No, I'm sorry, a lot deeper, so as to gain an accurate accounting of the legal outcomes that the last well over $1 million brought the district versus the grossly inaccurate understanding that Mr. Schaefer shared with the community last week? How about listening a little more carefully to the reports you are receiving from parents, employees, and union leadership so as to better understand the actual working conditions that these teachers exist in? Again, CUSD employees are used to hearing a lot of words from our school board trustees, but where's the follow-through on the issues that really matter in regard to A, supporting the teaching and learning environment, and B, supporting the financial stability educators need to secure stability for their families and the profession? Thank you.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution number 22-896. Whereas every student has the right to access high-quality educational programs to further their academic and personal success, and whereas quality educational programs are only made possible thanks to the dedicated, talented, innovative, and hardworking educators and classified staff at Carpinteria Unified School District, who use their extensive skill and compassion to provide individualized educational opportunities and supports for students. And whereas Carpinteria Unified School District acknowledges the challenges faced by our educators, support staff, students, and families during this post-pandemic time. And whereas Carpinteria Unified School District recognizes our staff has gone above and beyond in responding to the needs of students and their families and of the community at large. And whereas Carpinteria Unified School District believes that our employees' response in serving children during these challenging times serves as an example of selfless public service and pride in our community. And whereas now, more than ever, teachers, administrators, and classified staff serving our schools deserve the gratitude, respect, and recognition of the Carpinteria Unified School District, students, parents, and the entire community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in celebration of our teachers, including on California Day of the Teacher, Tuesday, May 3rd, our classified employees, including during the week of classified employee from May 16th through 22nd, and all our administrative staff, the governing board of the Carpinteria Unified School District proudly declares the whole month of May 2022 as Employee Appreciation Month. In making this declaration, the board honors all Carpinteria Unified School District staff for dedicating their lives to promoting the success of our children and our community. Can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
Move to approve.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Andy, this will be a roll call.
Aaron.
Aye.
Jamie.
Aye.
Sally.
Aye.
Jamie.
I'm aye.
And I'm aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item G1, the board is asked to approve the warrants for the period of April 8th, 2022 through April 21st, 2022 in the amount of $427,168.14. Warrants are issued once a week on Thursdays. The report format shows check number, check date, payee, and a brief description. You get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item G2A, the board is asked to accept the donation from CHS Boosters Club of $4,000 to CHS Spring Athletics. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item G2B, the board is asked to accept this grant from the Tri-State Life Foundation of $1,000 to GATE teacher Teresa Kuntz for Read Aloud Robotics Project. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item G3, we will have a budget development presentation by Ms. Fitzgerald. I do believe we have a public comment on this.
Yes, we do. Union President Jay Hochner.
Okay.
When you're ready, Ms. Thomas. Thank you. So there is simply not enough time in this venue for the union to debate the accuracy of the district's figures and the narratives embedded in Ms. Fitzgerald's budget projections and upcoming PowerPoint show. Suffice to say, we neither trust nor rely upon these figures when bargaining the contract, as they are simply subjective projections based on the CUSD's legal, negotiating, and political interests. In short, this PowerPoint show is more of a propaganda piece for the district than an accurate accounting of the financial solvency of the district. Rather than invest much time contesting the misleading presentation of the district's solvency contained in these CUSD projections, union leadership will continue to rely upon the actual figures that arrive from the state in the midsummer. And we encourage the community and the school board to do the same. These actual figures are not those of the superintendent's and district's preparation, but rather the actual monies that exist at a given point each year, annually. Under closer examination, we have historically found and demonstrated that the actual financial figures tell a very different story than that of the district's budget propaganda, the PowerPoint show. And we anticipate that this year will be no different, but for the expectation that the actual figures will be even more at odds with those contained in the upcoming PowerPoint show, Assistant Superintendent Fitzgerald is about to put on. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Fitzgerald, we're ready for your excellent presentation.
Okay, so we are going to continue looking at any changes that come from the state and the county on the budget. So I'm going to skip to slide 8. One of the
I have a
changes
quick
that
question, I'm sorry.
Sure.
On page 7, you have the timelines. So this is very specific outline of how the budget's developed, and we have to use some sort of speculation. Is that correct?
That's right. There are milestones that happen throughout the months starting January forward that we use to do projections. We use the governor's budget in January. In February, we build everything, we roll everything into a new year based on position control, and that is actual employee placement on salary schedules and approved district positions. It's name specific. And then in March, it's, is when we consider certificated and classified layoff notifications, if there are any. And then in April, what we saw the last presentation were the setting of CISC rates. That usually happens mid-April. And then our P2 property taxes usually come in at the end of April, which came in like the day I was preparing this for the board. So that's what we're going to see as a result. And property taxes come in essentially 4 times a year. They project them in October. We get an update for P1, that's usually sometime in January. P1 ends in December. And then we get another update in P2, which is April. And then our year-end property taxes come around the first week of July. And I'll just reiterate that we are what's called a teeter district or a teeter county, meaning the estimate that we get in October or the property taxes that we receive are not the tax receipts from our tax-paying members in our district. It is a guaranteed property tax allocation that the county gives us in October. And the only variation that happens are revisions to the actual calculations, which are usually very minimal. So we're basically guaranteed exactly what that number is by year end. So it's not wait and see what we get in tax payments in December, wait and see what we get in tax payments in April, and then they true up at the end of the year. We are guaranteed a tax allocation based on being a teeter county.
And our union president just mentioned that this is propaganda. What would happen if we waited until summer to get the final numbers?
If it weren't a teeter and I didn't wait, they would probably look just very similar to what we have, if not for a couple of prior year adjustments, which usually happen when, let's say, they have an impound of a tax or they're withholding a tax because someone's disputing their property taxes. They get released and then the taxes are collected or refunded. So those adjustments happen every year at end of year. Some happen throughout the year because we may know them in December, but most happen at the end of the year.
All right, thank you.
And then in May, we have the governor's May revise. That comes in around May 15th. This year, I think both presentations are after May 20th, so that will be reflected if there's any impact to us in the last board meeting in May. Typically, though, because we're not LCFF, unless there's one-time money allocated to all districts, we're not very generally impacted by the governor's May revise. And then in June, the state does have to adopt its budget by June 15th or there's a legislative penalty. And then the last board meeting in June reflects both the governor's budget as adopted as well as all of the other projections that we'll cover tonight.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So having said that, based on P2 property taxes, we have changed our projection from a 4.8 to a 5.0. You can recall when we had the county come and present their very long and thorough presentation on property taxes, it was really clear that it is not necessarily based on like the houses that sell and the higher property taxes that are collected. It's very consistent, and I'll go over in a few slides exactly what we received in the current year based on P2 and how it affected the future projections. And then what I'll bring next time, what just occurred like Wednesday, Thursday of last week, the PERS board did adopt a rate just a fraction lower than this. It's less than 0.5%, so I'll bring that next time also. No change to the district cost of positions. So on the property taxes, you'll see in the blue, that's the current year based on P2. So that came in just under $30,000 more. So it's not a significant number, but it's a positive number, which is a 5.13% over prior year. And you can really see, except for the 17, 18, 18, 19, those 2 years you have to combine the percent and divide by 2. That's when the Thomas fire, there was a lot of advancement, and then the second year they didn't provide the full payment. So it was due to the Thomas fire. And we are averaging about a 5% at least. So the projected 22.3 through 24.5 is just about a 5%. It was 4.8 previously. This is the unrestricted staffing. We have not changed that. We have not we have not yet commenced bargaining for the 22-3 year. So this is the same. Health and welfare we covered last week. We have concluded the CISC rates for our district paid plan. And the pension increases, I'll adjust this when I get the actual pension rates next week. I'm going to skip these. These are just the 5-year summaries with the current year. These show a few changes I'll cover in the actual assumption slides. The legal changes over costs over 5 years. We went over that last board meeting. And then again, the 3 charts, revenues, expenditures, and our function summary where the money is allocated following. And then we come into our actual assumptions. So having having us reviewed property taxes, the increase to P2 was $29,545. That is directly from the SBCEO P2 property tax adjustment that comes from the county. So that was an increase to the current year property taxes, and that current year, as well as the percent rate adjustment for the future years, gets impacted, and the 22.3 property taxes went up by about $65,000. So it's a compounding effect. When you increase one, then the base year that you're increasing the other is up, and that increases your increased dollar amount. The other change is just to reduce some one-time COVID testing. So our property tax changed our revenues to be about 5.3 over prior year for $24 million. On the drivers, the only item that changed from the last meeting is the increase to property and liability. That went up 25% over prior year. Wow. They did cite there were a lot of pending litigated cases that were stayed during COVID that are kind of all hitting. So it really is due to an increase in litigation across the SELPA, so across the whole CISC network. So that's not necessarily impacting because of our school, it's that we're grouped with the pool. So the drivers are $312,000. And at the bottom, again, I list a cost of living adjustment of 1% at $204,000. We're not proposing any improvements in this budget, nor are we proposing any reductions in this budget. And our expenditures haven't changed. The drivers are still $312,000 based on the previous slide. So our expenditures are only increasing 1.37% over our revenues increasing. You put that all together, and we are looking to have a 11.98 reserve in the 22-23 school year with a increase to our fund balance over prior year of $956,000. When we look at that over a multi-year projection, it brings 23.4 to 16.8 and 24.5 to 24.15. And then these are our the COVID slides that will be updated next month. So I will be bringing back the May revise at the end of May and the pension rates that have been finalized recently, as well as any other adjustments to positions, staffing, and assumptions at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. So do we have any questions for Ms. Fitzgerald?
I don't have any questions. I'd just like to compliment you again on the clarity and transparency. I find it really funny laughable, really, that the union tries to taint these as of obtuse and opaque, and yet they can't point to one specific item in these budget presentations that are inaccurate, and it's all the information's there, and I just want to commend you again, Maureen, that these are very, very good and clear presentations.
All right, we'll move along to H1, as our personnel summary. We have public comment?
Yes, we do. Union President Jay Hochner.
Okay.
Pardon me? You can start. Thank you. So once again, the personnel summaries provide incremental insight, much insight over time, into the concerning and ongoing condition, the flight of district employees, primarily teachers, to other more professional districts in the region. Once again, more teachers are leaving than being hired. While the Rigby administration drives away or releases fully capable, credentialed, and high-quality faculty from the district, the CUSD continues its efforts to hire uncredentialed and inexperienced workers to manage, not teachers, not credentialed teachers, workers, I meant that, to manage teaching and learning environments across the district. A scenario that sounds more like daycare provided by those we cannot even be certain possess the qualifications to provide daycare service, let alone educational services. Union leadership also does not believe that it's a coincidence that these uncredentialed workers would not have access to the same employment rights that a credentialed employee hired on a path to becoming a permanent employee would enjoy. Years later, of course. A condition that renders these workers, these newly hired uncredentialed workers, effectively mute on issues of professionalism, ethics, administrative competence, and on and on. Unless, of course, they want to be released, retaliated against, or disciplined, like so many of those who spoke up before them. District leadership will tell you that employee transition is routine. They'll tell you that every district experiences and is experiencing this. In short, carry on, nothing to see here, keep moving, no questions required. And they get away with it because they are infinitesimally correct in that the transition does occur every year. Transition occurs. But CUSD's version is extreme, and it is recognized as such around the region. Of course, there may be a need to fill holes across the district, but compared to other districts regionally, we're not looking at a few holes. We're looking at significant cracks in the whole of CUSD. Is this what district families envision when they consider their child's education? Once again, releasing quality teachers to feed the appetite of district leadership's lust for unquestioned authority. We just can't imagine that that's your vision for the future of Carpenter Unified School District. And we hope the parents can't either. Thank you.
Item H1, we are being asked to approve 6 assignments, 1 retirement, and 5 resignations. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Any questions?
I just want to point out once again, there's no specific, there's lots of mud being slung here, but there's no specifics. Yeah, so I you know, it's always sad to lose staff, but they have, you know, staff moves on, finds better jobs, gets married, does things like that. And, yeah, I just, you know.
Or in this case, like Mr. Weiberg, who's actually becoming a principal within our district. I think it's really sad that there was, somebody spoke so distastefully about our awesome staff, about our incoming instructional assistants, and I'm offended for them.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item I is our board announcements. Anything to mention to us this evening? Okay, we'll move right on to item J, our board calendar. Any items, Monica? Nope, nothing? Okay. Lastly is item K, our future agenda items.
Union President Jay Hochner.
Oh, public speaking, okay.
Thank you. So again, in true CUSD fashion, this agenda item helps the audience better understand how well district leadership listens to those in the community, those who work in the district, parents, students, employees, union leadership. At the March 8th, 2022 board meeting, and then again at the April 12th board meeting, the school board was asked to include the following agenda items at the next board meeting. The first being the examination of the boundaries associated with the school board members' communication with district stakeholders. One of you characterized that request at the last meeting as an effort to limit your ability to communicate. We're actually promoting your ability to communicate. We're encouraging you to get out there and talk with people a bit more and gain a more realistic and accurate understanding of what's going on in the district. What are the boundaries that you're obliged to? What is permissible? What is not permissible? How about letting the community know and letting yourselves know very clearly as well in front of the community? How can we assure that both board members and community members they serve are in possession of accurate expectations regarding the direct communication and engagement of school board members? The second issue, the inclusion of exit interviews for outgoing district employees, has been proposed, discussed, proposed again, pros and cons have been shared, yet to this date, after years now you've been here, Ms. Rigby, years you've been here, Ms. Zapata, yet you continue to do everything possible to avoid actually answering the questions that you so mischaracterized tonight. Actually answering, why are these people leaving? You could find out, you could know, but you choose not to, and then you choose to dismiss and make ugly remarks about the people that are actually asking you and telling you, we know why. They tell us. They clearly haven't told you. Why, after so many years and after so many requests to the Human Resource Director, Ms. Zapata, and the Superintendent, and the school board, does the CUSD not offer departing employees, be they released, resigned, laid off, why do we not offer them an opportunity to exit interview and share with you their reasons for why they're leaving? I believe it would be enlightening. Union leadership believes it would be enlightening. Thank you.
Would you like to clarify?
I don't.
I can't.
I said I wouldn't do this tonight, but I gotta really the gall you have, Mr. Hoshner, to sit up there and attack this board when Jamie Dimond and Sally Green do more in a month for this community with their volunteer work than you have done in your 30 years living here. And the fact that you're so obtuse that you can't realize that, I mean, I hate reacting to you because it's not.
How about you let me comment real quick. We do offer some form of exit interview, correct?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
We collect
That's
all the
clarified.
data. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
And Ms. Zapata has
I'd
shared them with us as well.
And
to clarify.
we have I have asked several times when it comes up, and I have been given the answers to the reasons why our staff have left. Okay, so that's clear. That's clear. I would also like to clarify that we are in our community. We do talk to the members of our community. We are active participants in our community. I'd also like to say that us individually or our families also do quite a bit to show teacher appreciation, not just during the week, because it really is important all year long. We are supportive of our teachers and our schools and our staff throughout the year, whether it be us ourselves or other family members. We are constantly doing that. That's part of why we're here, because we want to serve you, our community, our staff, our teachers, our kids. I'd also like to bring up the fact that we as board members, when we're sitting up here, there are certain things we cannot respond to during a board meeting. Some of the folks that were asking for us, for example, to pass a motion this evening, to write a letter about the cannabis grow. Unfortunately, that would have had to have been agendized at a prior meeting so we can vote on it to approve it and write it and approve the letter to be done at next week's meeting. There's not enough time to do that. However, we as individuals can go and speak to that or provide written comment and I'm just going to say personally, I do think the carbon scrubbers are the way to go. I did do a very simple Google to find out some information on the EcoSorb, and there is actually quite a bit of work that's been done on it as far as long-term testing. I am not an expert in that field. I'm not saying that, but a quick Google will give you information. I would also like to say that anybody can come up to this podium right up here and say anything they want, whether it be true or not. They can sling mud at us, at the staff, at members of the public. People can say whatever they want up there, and there is no accountability other than what the public holds them to those statements. We are held to a much higher standard, and we cannot do that. Okay? And we won't do that. We have too much respect for the position that we're in and for our families that we serve. And I'm frustrated with the atmosphere that has been created and that continues to be created by members of the community. And this is something that I spoke about. I've spoken about this for years, actually, as a parent at that podium. I've spoken about this during the election as part of my campaign, and I will continue to bring up the fact that magically, within a month or two of negotiation time, the union steps up and starts making a lot of noise and throwing a lot of mud and making parents feel like they have to choose between one group or the other, when truly the only choice is our kids, and all the distractions need to stop. And so,
Can you please be quiet, Mr. Kostner? Just let them speak.
So, with that said, I would like to agendize for a future meeting, and it doesn't even have to be the next one, but at some point I would really like to nail down our procedures for meetings as far as public comments, when it happens before or after an item is presented, and just have it set. I think we've kind of gone back and forth a few different ways on that, and I just would like to have it clear, so it's clear for everybody when they're expected to make their comment, either before or after an agenda item, and when their slips need to be turned in by, things like that, because I think it's just there's been a little ambiguity, and we give leeway to some and parents, and of course we want people to participate, but at the same time we need to have some order to what we do. So I would just like to have that maybe in the future. We also have I'm just going to say this, we also have a list of the decisions, the legal decisions that have been made, and the outcomes of those. And it's public purview, and there is one that the district has lost. One. There are two that were a draw, and the rest were in favor of the district. And I'm just going to put that out there for you, especially after what I've said, in the fact that we are held to a higher standard with what we say from up here. And I hope if you have questions, I will answer what I can. And as far as people saying, maybe we don't speak to people on certain things. Well, we can't talk about things that are in closed session. We cannot speak on personnel matters. There are things that we cannot talk about. And there are things that we can, and what we can, we will. Thank you.
Well said, Jamie.
All right, meeting adjourned.